Hey everyone, welcome back to the Winner's Circle. A little bit different today. I know you're used to seeing Tiffany coming out with an episode today covering the live feeds, but unfortunately, Tiffany is not feeling well. And so tonight, I thought it would be amazing, being that the new season of the Challenge USA is airing on CBS right after Big Brother, if you hadn't noticed, to have Paulie on, who is making his challenge return, first time back in a few years. So we're going to dive into it with Paulie. You know, he's going to fill us in on some of the things maybe we missed and what it feels like to be back on the challenge ground. So without further ado, Paulino, my brother, welcome to the Winner's Circle, baby.
What's up, baby? I mean, it's about time you asked me to come here. I know I'm not a winner, but like, you know, I'm like, hey, maybe a little family, intro here.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. We talk Big Brother. We've tried to do a little bit on the challenge. It doesn't seem to be what people want. And why in the world would I bring you on to talk about Big Brother? You were abysmal.
Yeah, no, it's very fair. I was good. I was 50 days good. After that, terrible.
You gave me anxiety on Big Brother right after, I want to say the first week was really awesome. The second week I was like, I think it's going to his head. And the third week I was like, damn it, Paulie. You went full.
Yeah. Full. Yeah. I definitely, I went from one side to the other. But,
totally.
You know, I mean, listen, to be fair, that house, it does things to people. And
we're seeing it right now. We're seeing it right now. What you're missing on the feeds, actually, I've been keeping up with the feeds, is the HOH right now is having the HOH reign of terror. Like, it's gone to his head. No. He's going nuts. He's like forcing people into combos. He's like, no more of this. What I like to call the Devin. He's pulling a Devin.
Oh, yeah. So he's gone next week.
He is in very serious trouble. But not to get too much into Big Brother, I want to jump right into the challenge. I've watched the first two episodes. It's the first time that I've watched a challenge and been super into it. I watched last season of the Challenge USA. It wasn't great. I got bored of it. I stopped watching the challenge on MTV because you being on it kind of ruined it. And I'm living at home at the time. Watching it with Daddy ruined it because I wouldn't be able to talk and I'd be really annoyed. And he would like yell. And I was like, I'm not watching anymore with you. And then I wasn't going to watch on my own. So then I just stopped watching. So I haven't watched in a little bit, but seeing you back on the big screen was pretty cool. You seem pretty even keel. I do have to ask you one question.
Yes.
Actually two questions. Who and why? Who picked your outfit and why did you go with that outfit on opening day?
Okay. Please. First and foremost, I picked my outfit. That was all me. I went with it because I'm starting to like want to dress like the rock stars that like I used to love back in the day.
Okay.
You know, so like
who?
Like Freddie Mercury.
I never saw Freddie Mercury with this. Actually, that's not true.
It was a combination of things, right? So like I went
Steven
with
Tyler.
Yeah, I went with, but like also, like Motley Crue, like, looking at Vince Neil, like all those guys, like they wore some like wild things. Guns N' Roses, like Axl Rose used to wear like big giant fur things. But also I was going with a little bit of King of the North, Robb Stark, the GOAT, in my opinion, from Game of Thrones, even though he got backstabbed.
What about Jon Snow?
I mean, Jon Snow is also
Who doesn't refer to Jon Snow if they're making a Game of Thrones?
No, Jon Snow's definitely the best, but like, yeah, that was my decision. I live in my decision of wearing that outfit. However, it was freezing. So the short shorts weren't the best idea that day.
Okay. So let's take us back to, it was freezing. What time of the month are you out there filming? Where you guys are filming in Croatia. So like, give us an idea of what it's like to be in Croatia around when you were filming. Cause I don't think a lot of people know exactly when it films.
So we were in Croatia around April is when you saw that episode. So
it's cold.
April in the Adriatic/Mediterranean area is cold, but I think the weather was supposed to not be cold, but we actually caught like this cold front. So like everybody kind of showed up that first day, like not really prepared for how cold it was going to be. And that's also like people in the house didn't really pack warm clothes. So like what you'll see and like what you've seen is like when people are having conversations in the house, like they're usually wearing like the same like long sleeve because everybody maybe packed like one sweatshirt each. It was so cold there. Like when you saw me standing when we were in the rows, like I was standing like this.
Just staying tense.
Yeah, part of me like was like kind of cool, like Bane. But the other part of me was like, if I don't have my arms like this, I am freezing. So like I stood here like that to like stay warm.
Well, here's the thing, Paul. When you choose to wear almost nothing other than the fur around your neck, I mean, your skin tight jean shorts, your jorts. Thanks for bringing those back, Paulie. And your Bane, Jon Snow, the Stark thing. I was like, yeah, Paul, you're gonna freeze. It's cold, and you're in like almost. And I don't know. The shirt underneath looks see through.
It was see through. It wouldn't have been that bad, but the wind was bad. Like the wind was
on the water.
Wind was very cold right off of the water. Like if there was no wind, would have been fine.
Okay. All right. Let's move on from there. I had to come after you for that because I just was like, Paul. All right. But anyway, that's you. You are who you are. Whether people are going to make fun of you like me or they're going to love it like other people, I guess, you're going to be you no matter what. And I can respect that.
It was definitely half and half. I would say it was half people saying, I love the new style. I love this look. I love this. And then the other half was like, what is this? Yeah, he looks like an idiot.
All right. Well, here's our first interaction with all of you in the comments. I'm going to need you to put a 1 down below if you're with me and we're like, why are you wearing that? Or 2, if you were like, I like it. He takes fashion risks and I respect that. 1 for, what are you doing, Paul? And 2 for, hey, how you doing, Paul?
I mean, I feel like it fit like the new hair color and everything as well.
Yeah, you're going for this whole thing. You're like dyeing your hair constantly. It's just, I don't know what's going on.
I mean, it's not constantly. Like I would say I spread it out like maybe 4 months at a time. So it's like right now it's fully dyed, but it's going to grow out. I'll get a haircut. It'll turn like, you're
going brown. Like the two-tone. It's the brown beard with the blonde hair. Plus you're doing the thing that all the TikTokers do. They like got the dangling earring.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've got
that's like old school. Like that was the thing that was brought back. Like Daddy used to rock the earring that hung off the ear.
Yeah, I like it.
You have a cool look. It's a really cool look.
No. I appreciate it. I think like the reason I never really wore jewelry is because we were always doing so much sports.
Yeah.
So it's like it was hard to like wear jewelry where it's like, oh, hold up, gotta go to wrestling practice. Oh, gotta go to soccer practice. Oh, like can't have this. Falling out, getting, hooked on and everything. But now I'm just kind of like, I'm not doing any of those things on a regular basis. So like when I want to dress up, I want to dress up. And honestly, like my whole mindset, like going into the challenge this season, like when I would go in the past, I did not care about my wardrobe. I didn't really care about like my style or anything. I was just like going in there being like, I'm here to compete. I'm just going to wear athletic clothes. Even when I go to my interviews, I'm just going to wear like the bare minimum. Like I don't care about like packing for fashion as much as I cared about packing workout clothes because I'm like, I'm going to work out all day. But this time around, I was like, let me put some effort into what I look like, on how I want to look. And I did. And that is what you saw.
Good. Terrific. Okay. So we're there. You're on the boat, half naked. And it was probably one of my favorite things because like I'm a fan of this person, and I know you guys were like enemies, but you guys were friends, and then you turned to enemies. It's Josh Martinez from Big Brother. I really love Josh. I think Josh gets a rap because Josh understands the industry that he's in. He's in the entertainment industry, much like you, kind of. You guys understand the industry that you're in, so when the cameras are on, I got to be this way, but like this is who I really am. And I've never been around Josh personally. But it's just like I can just tell that Josh is one person when he's on the show and he's a different person when he's not. And it's like you almost want to try to see past unless you're butting heads with him like you were in the past. But I really like Josh, and I thought it was a really funny thing that they put in there with the two of you because they showed you guys on the boat with each other. And now Josh is the team captain. And the first guy that he gets a chance to pick is you. So what were you thinking in that situation? Like, honestly, we saw what you said in the DR, but like, honestly, he picks you and are you like, cool, I like Josh as a competitor? Or are you like, oh man, I don't really enjoy that he picked me.
Like I had a lot of thoughts, coming into the season. One of the main thoughts that I had was, what the format was going to be, who I might see there, and how that was going to affect my game. And a lot of this was like, dude, like I haven't been on in 4 years. So like I had the choice to make of like, am I going to be that guy that comes in and like immediately like picks up like right where it was left off, especially with somebody picking me to be on their team.
Never a good option. Yeah, never a good
And like
call.
the thing is, regardless of where Josh and I stood before this game, if I'm on your team, I don't care how much I hate you, we have to figure out a way to win, and we have to win. Now, I never rated Josh as a competitor at all. I always felt as though he came into seasons sloppy, not in shape, like there to, mainly just once again cause drama and not really add anything into things. And like my thing with Josh, was always just kind of like, hey, I took you in under my wing on the first season you did. Next season, you kind of left me out hanging to the wolves. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where it stemmed from, but more so, he's a lot in there.
Yeah.
He's not the same person like, that you hang out with in real life, like when he's in the game. But when he picked me, I was like,
he tries to play the game, like, and that could be a lot. He tries to play. He tries to always have conversations. He's always trying to like move chess pieces around. He just does. He's trying to.
But honestly, I thought that him picking me was like such a great strategic.
Oh, I thought
move
it was so
because,
smart.
Like I don't know how I would have played the game. Like, yeah, I don't think I was going to come in guns blazing, getting in their faces, like getting in his face or like Johnny's face. But I do think that if circumstances were different and I was on another team, like for my own game, I would have had at some point in my mind be like, I have to target them because like they're probably targeting me. So by neutralizing that out of the gate, it was actually a really great play on his end. And I got to tip my hat to him because you neutralize such a big threat right out of the gate, like for his game personally.
I thought it was so smart on his part.
Yeah, and then he also protected like one of his closest allies in Johnny by also being able to get him. Now that was kind of
I mean, nobody picked Johnny.
No, but that was like kind of luck, and like the way that it had to be picked was like he had to pick a girl first. The girls had to pick
I think we understood that as viewers. Like, okay, that's how it's going.
And the thing is, there was only allowed to be one veteran guy on a team. So like when Cassidy picked Corey and Desi picked Wes, Josh automatically got Johnny right after that. So he knew that.
Okay.
So he knew not to waste his pick on Johnny when he had the chance to pick another guy. He picked me knowing that he automatically got Johnny. Yeah. Right? Because of who those other two picked. So,
well, I think necessarily because you're missing the pick in between, which was Dusty. Like he chose to pick Dusty.
Because he knew he didn't have to pick Johnny at all.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But you were saying he picked me, but you were his first pick.
I was his first pick because he could have made that strategic move. But he also was able to pick as many other guys as possible before Johnny because Johnny was automatically on his team from a guy standpoint.
Okay.
Because like each team was only allowed to have one veteran guy, one veteran girl.
I see. Right. So and every team had to have two vets, one guy, one girl. Gotcha. So
Cassidy picked Corey and Desi picked Wes. Johnny was automatically on Josh's team.
So why would you waste?
Josh didn't have to pick him because if he picked him, then Johnny would have went to his team. So once again, it was good strategy that he was able to know that right then and there and be like, I don't have to pick Johnny. He's automatically on my team. I'm now going to gather the guys that I want to gather.
They didn't. Yeah, they didn't say that to us. They didn't share that information with us until the very end. They said every team has to have two vets. So even to put that together is, I mean, he's a thinker, man. I've really, really liked Josh.
I actually learned that he's really good at chess. I watched him play in the house today. I was like, oh, like you're like you play chess.
Yeah, chess is
competitively.
Yeah, which takes a lot of focus, a lot of like forecasting out, guessing move. Josh is a gamer. And you have to be a gamer to even come close to sniffing winning Big Brother, and he won Big Brother. So, so now Josh picks this team. You see the vets roll up. You got Tori, dog, Corey, dog, Wes, dog, Bananas, dog. You got John A. I mean, she's won before, right?
So she came back and she's won 2 All-Stars seasons.
Okay, so dog. I always remember John A like being on the challenge always when I was watching, but never being like I always felt like Cara and Laurel. Like John A was, I never like viewed her as this like the top tier, like how I Tori, but John A is obviously a beast because she's won it twice. So dog. And then Amanda, who is not my favorite at all. She does the most. And I always set this precedent when I talk about people. I'm not talking about you from like a place of malice, but like I'm watching you as like a viewer. So like take it or leave it. I'm seeing you on the show. I've never met you. So I'm not talking about you personally, but Amanda's just too much for me. She's like, always
be
doing
careful, man.
most.
She's going to sick her army on you.
Well, whatever, dude. I've been through that, and it's like their Twitter fingers don't faze me. Like I've gone through the ringer once before when I said something about Devon and went through that warrior group, and so I can't imagine they're as bad as that.
Yeah, dude. Slave on Nation don't play.
Yeah, so I think I made it through that, so I'm okay. But anyway, Amanda's a intense competitor. Extremely cutthroat, loud, in your face, brings the noise. So I was so pumped with the cast of vets that they chose to bring into the game. So when you saw them, what were you thinking?
When I saw them, I was thinking I didn't really have connections with any of them. The person that I had the closest connection with, from a game standpoint that I've played with, was Wes. And this time around, I chose to not have conversations with him at all prior to going in. Like everybody pre-games on the challenge. Like I know people try and like set things up, but like the challenge, like everybody pre-games like very hard.
Oh yeah.
However, I really did not want to get in trouble like at all, and I didn't want like to be able.
You
to
had been held out for a while. This was like an anticipating.
Like, I played everything super close to the chest. Nobody knew that I was going on. Actually, Wes and Bananas made a bet, and Wes lost because Wes called me, and I convinced him hard that I was not on. And Johnny knew that I was on, and he made a bet with Wes, being like, "If Paulie shows up, you have to jump into the pool naked in front of everybody." So like when Wes saw me, he was pissed.
Yeah, because you guys are close.
Yeah, because we were close, and like the thing
let's
is,
shout Wes out really quick. I remember he said something like, "I love Wes." He said something about like me not liking him.
Yeah.
Again, it's a challenge, Wes. But I know I like Wes.
It's a game standpoint, like Wes.
Right.
I love Wes as a human, and like I understand. Him being a little bit upset with me.
Oh, for sure.
That we came in and I didn't talk to him because he was like, dude, like, you're like my real life friend.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't you tell me? And I was like, dude, honestly, I really just wanted to come in this game. Like, I didn't want to tell anybody. I didn't want anybody knowing I was coming. I just kind of wanted to show up and just see how the game played itself. And I wanted to actually come in, not attached to anybody, not owing anybody anything, and not like, putting a game plan together with anybody. I wanted to see like what naturally happened.
Right. Well, I hope that I totally understand where you're coming from, but I hope you had a conversation with him because just off the top of my head, it's almost like if I was your friend, like how Wes is your friend, I'd be like, you're my friend outside the house. Why in the world, when this is a game, why wouldn't you divulge information? Because now it makes me feel maybe our relationship outside the house is more of a strategic thing and not as authentic as he thought. I know that's not what it is for you, but I'm just saying what he probably was thinking, and maybe not. I may be wrong.
No, 100%. Like that's 100% how he took it, and like obviously, like he's preparing for fatherhood as well.
Totally. Yeah.
And this was a very fish out of water moment for a lot of the veterans. And I almost, in a way, what I said to him is, I'm like, listen, dude, like I'm almost like protecting you more, kind of coming in like not being attached. I said, because like people are almost like looking at me like, where do you actually lie? Like, cause you've played with the vets before, and like, you may not like all of them, but like you've played with the vets before, but like you're CBS, but like you've played more seasons with the vets.
You're
like,
more MTV than you are CBS. I don't understand why they did that. They made you out to be like you're Paulie from Big Brother. I'm like, Paulie's on a season of Big Brother and 5 different MTV shows.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why that. Yeah, I'm more MTV than I am CBS.
They even did it with Fessy.
Yeah, and like that's the thing is, but like I understand where Wes is coming from, like in a lot of ways, because like he was like, dude, like like who knows like what could have happened, like with me coming in, like why didn't you just like tell me? And like the thing is, he didn't care that I didn't tell him. He just cared more that like a week before going, like we had an hour conversation, and I like
that is like completely understandable on his end to be like frustrated or like hurt by what you did, especially having that long of a conversation. For me, if I'm being straight up, I'd have been like, I don't fully trust you.
Well, that's what he said to me. He's like, how can I fully trust you in this game right now?
Yeah.
But, and the thing is, like, I understood. And like, then after that, like, he was blowing my game up, like in the house.
What a dog. But that's what we know Wes does. He may have loyalty outside the house.
He would have never
did that. He does have loyalty.
He would have never did that if I had the conversation with him. But it's almost like he felt like he needed to do that to bring attention to me as a gamer, and get the heat off of him as a gamer, which is a smart play.
And we'll get into that next, because what we see immediately is it's like backs against the wall for the vets. And it's so tough for me because, like, watching the challenge, this is going to be so funny because I don't think we've ever really talked about this publicly, but like Bananas was one of my favorites of all time and was always my favorite. I like followed him right off the rip early, like years and years ago. And then you went on the challenge and had this like beef with him. And then I was like, oh, cause you're my brother. I was like, F you Bananas, but I'm like, I still love that guy as a challenger. And it's like, it's so annoying because it's the vets were immediately public enemy number one. Like they couldn't win. And it almost was like, I wish the game gave them a little bit more of a buffer because like they were just thrown to the wolves. Like they didn't have a chance to not be like constantly thrown in.
I think that the bone, if you want to call it a bone, that they were kind of thrown was the hopper in a way. Oh, right. Like that.
Yeah.
And the secret vote. So like the secret vote almost allowed players that maybe like sympathize with the vets a little bit to, throw their votes elsewhere. Right. Like, I mean, the first time around, there's 14 votes that could go down or something like that. There was a good amount of votes. No, sorry. There was 20 votes that could have went down in the first elimination. Only 4 went to Johnny and 2 went to Wes. None went to Amanda, and none went to Johnny, if I'm not mistaken.
In the first one. So right there, like, because I was looking at the numbers, and like even that first one, I was kind of like, I kind of want to see where these numbers lie. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, all right. So like the vets may have their back against the wall, but not as much as they think. Until the next one.
And but the next one, even so, when you really look at it, like, yeah, all right, Green sat down and said, we're putting 2 vets in, and they outvoted, Wes.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to
Which I thought his rationale was spot on. And I was literally thinking, and I'm like, as they're talking and they're like, oh, we're going to throw the vets. And I'm like, you're literally doing the dirty work for other people. It's like, and that's just like, for me, Big Brother 101, it's like, you don't do the dirty work for other people when you're in the reins. You protect your own, but you allow other people to do the dirty work. And I thought his points were brilliant to a bunch of like foaming at the mouth new people wanting to eat the vets up alive.
But also I got to give credit to Michaela, because the way she spun it around on him was also brilliant. Like he gave his points and she basically gave her points in a way where, like, listen, Wes, we have an advantage because you give us all the tips and tricks on how to do well at these things. That's why we won.
Yeah.
That's who Bananas is for the red team. So we gotta weaken them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Totally. And like, without directly being like, hey, fuck you, Wes. Like, we're coming after the vets. Like, she almost spun it in a way where it's like, hey, listen, this isn't about the vets. This is about making their team weaker. But we all knew that it was about the vets.
Right.
But even with that vote, for instance, like Johnny was down there. Corey was the only male vet that could have went down 2 votes.
Yeah.
Right. Tori was down there. Johnny got 5 votes. Right. So that's 7 votes out of, once again, 19 people. So like when you're actually looking at the numbers, you're like, yes, their backs are against the wall, but there was a lot of people that wanted to, you know, like work with them.
Well, I think a lot of that comes down to like Corey is just extremely likable, and Corey has never won. So it's less threatening when you're looking at a Corey who you like versus looking at a Johnny who you might like, you might not, but you know how aggressive, like how easily he wins these things. So it's like, even if I like you, you're still the most dangerous person. So I don't really care. Where Corey has that like buffer of like, I've never won, guys. Like, I'm not this master manipulator. Like, I come in here, I work hard, I'm loyal, which he is. And I think, you know, John A, 2 wins, Tori wins, Wes wins, Bananas wins. So Amanda, another person who hasn't ever won before, is more chaotic than they are maybe threatening. But Amanda definitely is a good challenge player. She's not a bad challenge player. She's gone far almost every time.
Without a doubt. And
but like, they have that like no win buffer so that it's like, I'm not that threatening. I've never won before.
Yeah. And like, honestly, like where I was at, you know, was a lot of people were really looking at me, and, you know, where my head was at, like after spending some time in there, is like, I was having a lot of conversations with vets and CBS people. And the information that got back to me, you know, was that CBS people were trying to, you know, go to the vets and say that like, I'm leading the charge, you know, to get the vets out. Right. So immediately I was like, oh, okay. So I'm being propped up as the shield.
Who did this?
Huh?
Who did it?
I don't know who did it. That's what I'm saying. Like, dude, it was like this format.
We haven't seen that in the episodes.
No, but this format played into Big Brother and Survivor style. Like you said earlier, like I'm abysmal at the Big Brother game, but at the challenge game, like I'm pretty good. Like when you have to like say names with your chest, and like when you got to like, you know, gather numbers, and like if you throw somebody in, like you have to say it. Yeah. Like this whole secret vote
corny
really threw things for a loop. Because like, yeah, sure, people may not have wanted to put me onto their radar by throwing votes my way in, you know, the team setting, like when the winning team won. But second episode, I got 2 balls my way, right? And I'm like,
where'd those come from?
That's pretty early for that.
You got to stay calm.
No, I was calm.
No, I know you are. You got to stay calm and try to like, whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah, no, and that's how I was. But like, you know, then I started hearing like that people were saying I'm leading the charge. So then I was like, whereas I was trying to play the fence and not really pick a side. Yeah. Once I heard that, I was like, well, it sounds like they're trying to get me to do their dirty work. I'm gonna go to the vets. I'm gonna, you know, because like, yeah, they may be like, all these people may be my enemies, but I've played with them. So in a weird way, like I feel more comfortable playing with them than a bunch of people that I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Wes said it best on the episode. He's like, I don't like Johnny, but at this point, Johnny's like family, and you may not like your family, but they're who you ride with. And it was like, cause he understood backs against the wall. Like I can either hang Johnny out to dry like I've done in the past, or I got to stick with him or else they're going to eat us both. And you almost, which we don't see that, or like, I wonder if we'll see that in this upcoming episode where there's like people trying to put you at the forefront.
You know, I don't know. Like, once again, like we're always at the mercy of what is shown. So it's like, I just know like what would get back to me. And like when people come to me and they'd be like, hey, like, listen, like people are coming to me saying like, you're leading the charge against the vets. And I'm like, oh, that's crazy. I said, so I'm being set up as the fall guy.
Now, like, did you ever say anything? Were you like part of conversations where you're like, oh yeah, that's a good idea? Or were you just like, did they just make this up out of thin air? Honest.
No. So like, I was pulled into so many conversations.
Right.
Like I was pulled into so many conversations, and it's like, you know, you sit there like kind of in a Big Brother sense, which once again, like, dude, I hadn't played a challenge game in 4 years. The last time I played Big Brother was like 7-8 years ago. So like I'm sitting there in these conversations kind of like,
well, I'm here. So I guess now I'm
like,
grouped together
I'm
with you guys.
Like, I'm here, and like people would be like, so like, where are the numbers? Like, what do you think? And I'd just sit there and be like, I don't know. Maybe you guys should go and like find out and then like report back to me and stuff. So like, I'm like sitting there trying to like say as little as possible, but that's why it was so shocking to me that like when it got back to me that like I'm sitting there leading the charge, I'm sitting there being like, I'm not the one calling these meetings. I'm not pulling these people into the rooms. I'm being pulled into the rooms.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like it even started like before I entered the house. Like, because we all see each other at the airport. We all see each other, whatever. Like people just coming up to me, just being like, so you leading the charge against the vets? You going to lead the charge against the vets? And I'm sitting there like, should I? Like, should I lead the charge against the vet? Like
my answer would have been like, no.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's like, dude,
I will follow.
But the thing is, it's like, all those things, I'm sitting here trying to be like, I'm just trying to like CT this, where it's like you just kind of like
play the middle,
not noticed until you need to be noticed.
Mm-hmm.
And like right away, I wasn't able to like not be noticed. Right, I had 2 votes in the second thing, and now once again, I think part of that is because I didn't talk to Wes before I came in, because I would be having like just chill conversations with people like about nothing, and like Wes would come in and like see me talking to like 4 people and be like, "Whoa, would you look at who's having a conversation here? Oh, shocking, right?" And once again, he would put that target on me like in that way where I'm like, come on,
well, then
dude.
You go into a follow-up convo. He probably catches one of the people from the group, and is like, just so you know, Paulie is a gamer. Like, he is a gamer. So be careful. And like, he'll probably plant seeds. He's
not bad at the game, but
he knows what he's doing.
This house was so like the hallways were thin, the rooms were small.
I thought it was a cool house.
No, it's a very cool house. But what I'm saying is the echoes and like everywhere,
because
so, like,
they turn like a home almost into like a studio.
This home like was as similar to a Big Brother house as I can imagine. Like anytime I've played the challenge, there's no doors on the rooms. Like there's no doors on the rooms. There were doors on the rooms.
So you got to like peek your head in like Big Brother, which I hated that.
But the thing is, if he pops his head into a room and I'm just sitting there talking to people, makes that big deal. And there's people
because the door is shut,
hallway,
not open.
All it takes is for someone to be like, "Oh, what's going on in there?" Be like, "Oh, nothing. Just Paulie talking to a group of people."
That's the paranoia of Big Brother. Yeah, and they added that element.
House felt like Big Brother. Everybody was on edge. I think I was the most zen person in there. People actually were migrating to me, saying, "Hey, I want to hang around you because like you just seem so even keeled." And I'm just like, honestly, like with the Hopper being involved in this, like I have come to grips with I can only control what I can control. And I should just be ready to go into any elimination.
You have to be, because with the unanimous vote, anonymous vote, it makes it more Big Brother-esque, which I didn't like, because I think one of the best parts about the challenge is like, what's going down. You see it, you can know, okay, I may be nice with you, but like you're my enemy. Period. And with this, it almost is like you have to play the guessing game. You have to read into conversations. You got to listen like closely to did somebody flip flop because they actually did say my name. And that's kind of not what the challenge was.
And honestly, that's where Johnny and I kind of bonded.
Yeah.
So like Johnny and I are coming into this season hating each other, dude. Like it was brutal. You know what I mean? Like for years. But, we get put on the same team. I run into the house first. I go the wrong direction. So by the time I get down to the bottom, all the beds are taken. So I end up having a bed right next to Johnny.
Perfect.
And once the first elimination happens, and once TJ announced the twist of like secret voting and all that stuff, Johnny and I are sitting there and we're like, oh, we don't like this. Like the whole thing about the challenge is like when you say somebody's name, you got to say it with your chest, and like you got to stand behind what you said.
They would make people stand there and point directly at you. I did win, and I'm safe. Paulie, you're going in, and it's like they both have to vote right in front of the entire group.
And then if you come back, guess what?
I'm coming for
You're
you.
going right at that 100%. Like this
was
so
they added
tricky.
like the Weasley aspect of Big Brother into the challenge, which I'm like,
they did. And it's like, for instance, like Michelle went in the first elimination, she won. She only knew that, you know, for a fact that Amanda voted for her, right? Because Amanda made it vocal.
Amanda made it with
nobody else made it vocal.
Scene.
When I tell you, we sat down for an entire day, the whole red team, and we were like, where did the other votes come from? And like, once again, Jonna was the last person I expected.
Only the two losing teams got to vote, correct?
Correct.
Got it.
But like, once again, that first vote, Red had 9 votes.
So I thought that was epic. But we knew as viewers what happened.
Somebody on our team voted for us out of the gate. And we were like sitting there, and now everybody's sitting there and they had their – nobody thought that it was Jonna. Nobody.
No
so
way.
People were sitting there being like, it could have been Paulie. It could have been Tiffany. You know, it could
somebody maybe trying to throw a rogue vote.
Yeah, it could have been Chanel. It could have been Dusty. We don't know. But those were the conversations that were happening because Michelle had no idea other than Amanda who voted for her. And she had, 4 votes?
Because honestly, she could have been tight with 2 people on green that might have been like, I'm not voting. I'm going to vote on my team. And then other people, it's like, you don't know how many people. It's a nightmare. But what they're trying to do is bring like, whereas the challenge in the past was straight up an MTV challenge. The challenge on MTV was just straight up hall brawls, stuff like that, physical. This on CBS seems like they're trying to implement a little bit of that Survivor Big Brother feel.
That's what it felt like when I went in, and I.
Did you like that? Did you not like?
No,
I know. No MTV vets probably.
I felt like a fish out of water. I'm not gonna lie. Like I sat there and I was like, because there's a lot of these people who are like way more fresh coming off of these games. Mm-hmm. You know, like there was a lot of BB24.
Monty was literally
there. There was a lot of BB23 people there.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people fresh off Survivor.
Yeah.
You know, coming in there. And you know, I'm sitting there like, I wasn't good at Big Brother the first time around. Like I won a lot of comps. You know, I was playing a really great strategic game until it all blew up in my face. Mm-hmm. But I excelled very well at the challenge and like how I was able to like navigate myself in there because of that fact that like you can use a little bit of intimidation. You could use a little bit of like leverage.
Well, Wes made a good point. Tori did just that with how she beat Jonna by, I want to say it was 12, and 2, beat the shit out of Jonna. Like there were points where it was so clear that Tori was just like, I'm not going to wrestle the ball. I'm just going to slam her to the ground and wait for the next one, and just would whip her to the ground. And I was like, dude.
And dude, watching that live, I
almost. I felt bad because I always loved Jonna.
And then, for God's sake, for Jonna.
Yeah, Jonna was never like Jonna was always, you know, going through like drama, not herself, like relationship stuff and different things. And like, she was always an extremely likable person. And to watch her I loved and respected how much she battled, but to watch her get like whipped around like that, I was like, this sucks. Can this end? I fast forwarded through it. I was like, she's just getting the shit out of her and not liking it.
It was tough. And, and like I said, like, you know, that's tough to watch. Right. But like, the thing is, it's like, I had 2 votes on my name. Corey had 2 votes on his name. If all of a sudden one of our names pop out, now all of a sudden you got Bananas has to go against Corey, who he never got along with, or Paulie, who he never got along with.
And that comp would have been epic.
Oh my God. It would have been epic because it's like, dude, you want to talk about a bloodbath.
It's a battle. I mean? Like, well, there's strategy to that game as well.
100%. There's strategy to it for sure, especially when they added in balls that
the silver ball worst 3.
Yeah, like it wasn't a normal balls in where it's like best of 5 rounds.
Yeah.
You know, and like each
pick and choose your battles. Like you may be wrestling a black ball from them, but if there's a silver one coming down, like let it go, grab the silver.
Yeah, but all you would have to do is punch the ball out of their hands and make it touch the ground, and it's not valid anymore, right?
Right.
So it's like if there was strategy to that. But I mean, dude, like Tori just like physically dominated Jonna. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, it was tough. But I mean,
that's just sweetheart, man. So like, it was tough.
That's exactly right. Like I only remember Jonna from being like this really sweet person, not like two-faced, not part of drama, not creating drama, not like yelling at people, just there competing. And I didn't even know that she won those 2 All-Star seasons because I wasn't watching the ones that were on Paramount. But to watch her just get like tossed around like that, I was like, "Oh, this sucks. I don't really love it."
Yeah.
But to Tori's credit, if I'm every other girl in there, there's not a chance I let Tori know that like I'm going after her, because it's like, dude, she is a dog. A dog.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, she knew that she was down there from the green team, right? So once again, it's almost like being put down there to be in the sand. At least you kind of know, like, all right, I know who voted for me.
You guys, yeah, 100%.
From this.
I will be voting for people up there.
I will be
on the green team, yeah.
You
people on the green
like
team.
For me, like I sat there and like
like who voted for me, man? Who threw the 2 votes my way?
Yeah,
wait, was it my team? Because you can even turn. It's like what that does to your head. I can't even imagine, bro.
And like I'm like, and like me, like like in games previous, like I'd be like, oh yeah, you want to say my name? Like, you know what I mean? But like this time around, it's like I'm almost sitting there and it's like, you want to like call somebody out, but like you can't.
I would have. I mean, you should have known at that point. I mean, granted, you shouldn't know anything, and I'm talking as a viewer right now because I've never played the challenge, which unfortunately, little spoiler, I was right there about to be on this season with Paulie, and we would have been playing for the first time together.
It would have been epic
on this season, and unfortunately, I had issues that couldn't be resolved, and so I didn't get the opportunity, which would have been sick, but neither here nor there. You should have known, like, okay, Dusty didn't probably vote for you. Bananas probably didn't. Josh wasn't trying to weaken his own team, so there goes all your guys. The girls were pretty cool with you. Like, Tiff ain't throwing a vote your way.
Yeah.
Because, like,
I mean, process of elimination, because the blue team threw votes my way, but like, I knew that it was probably Tori because, Tori, like, she had nobody else who she would have thrown a vote at.
Yeah.
But that other one, I was like sitting there and I'm like, I mean, Corey, no. Fessy,
definitely not Corey. Definitely not Fessy.
And I was like, I had a good relationship with like some of the girls on the blue team. So like Cassidy, I was like, no.
But now,
but now I'm sitting there being like, all right, the guys, like, I don't really know Sebastian. I don't really know Chris. Could have been one of them. So like,
which smart gameplay. Here's how it goes, which I love that they did it this way. The vote comes after finding out which 2 people are already down there. So now it doesn't even become a who am I loyal to. It becomes like, if I do want that person down there out, who's going to give me the best chance to send them home? And when it's a Bananas, you're going to want, like, the vote should have been thrown to the big dogs, and which you could like make it harder, like weaken it no matter what.
And once again, that's what Johnny and I were talking about how like we don't like games where the lesser players, so to speak, or like the weaker players can take shots like that
and succeed without just on chance.
Right. Because it's like, yeah, you always want to have the opportunity of getting like a big dog out. Right. So even when you're playing without an anonymous vote, once again, you still have to have the courage to say 2 big names.
Right.
And know that one of them's coming back and coming after you.
Exactly.
Hence why most of the time when you watch the challenge, like they take the easy way out and they just put rookies against each other.
They do it early, yeah.
And then they start to take shots at each other.
But do you think they're trying to get away from that? Which would be the only reason why the producers changed the structure, a little bit.
I think that the reason why the structure got changed a little bit is because it is on CBS now, so you do have to cater to the viewers of like Big Brother and Survivor. So I think this was the best way to do that, was to add things that make it relatable to those viewers. Now, once again, I have no idea. I have no idea what their plans are. Like, they're the geniuses, the visionaries, and all that stuff. But I could see them doing this for maybe like, the first season that everybody's integrated, maybe the second season that everybody's integrated. But after that, I think it will go back to the authentic challenge version, because then it'll be a standalone show on CBS and it needs to have its own presence. So it's
it does. It fairly has its own presence.
It for sure does. Yeah. It for sure does. But what I'm saying is from a standpoint, they won't have to throw in like Big Brother twist or Survivor twist. Like Survivor is its show.
But there's always twists on the challenge. It's just there was that aspect, and it's literally only the voting aspect of you still have to vote me in and send me down, and then I have to lose down there. Right. And I like that the most because like the manipulating aspect of these games is probably my least favorite part of the games. Yeah. And so that's why I thought it was shout out to Cara who just popped into the video, no big deal. But you know, we've been going for a little bit. We're wrapping up right now. I want you to give us a little bit of tea on what to expect, maybe what to expect moving forward. What can we be excited about? What should we be frustrated about? Like, give us something and a nice little sign off.
Honestly, I mean, I'm a little excited that I was able to come in and like not be that guy that I'd always been. You know, like it still exists in me, like the competitor, but I was able to compete without like having like that anger. And I like the fact that, you know, like, listen, like I still have that in me, right? Like if you mess around, if you pull some shit, I'm sure I'll blow up at some point.
He gonna blow up.
You know, I'll blow up at some point, but you know, I like the fact that like I kind of came in and like my mindset coming into this was like, how do I win the whole game? How do I win this whole game? And it's not by coming in and like out of the gate, like being like, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you.
It
like,
is not.
Here we go. You know, and ultimately that's what I want. I want the championship. I need the championship. Like I think about it all the time. Like I need this championship. I want this championship. Like I love it, but I need to figure out what it takes to be a champion in that game, you know, and like coming in and being the guy who I've been, you know, it got me very far. It got me like second and third place. But why was I missing first place? Is it because I like maybe was focusing on other things? And like once I eliminated all the things that I was focusing on, I almost felt like, well, now what? And then I lost focus on like winning. So that's what I'm excited about. But I'm also excited to see how like this whole plays out, like with the vets and like these new CBS people, because they're all very good from their respected seasons.
Oh yeah.
So it's not like these are like, you know, the people who got like taken out first on their seasons. Like, no, these were like gamers from their seasons.
Which I did feel bad for Amira because Amira went home early on Big Brother and then got booted early again on the challenge. So unfortunate, but
I did feel bad for that too.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see because we got a lot of names on there who I love. Like Monty, I love Tyler. I love Tiffany is my girl. Everybody knows that. And then who else? I mean, I love Corey. I love Bananas. Love Wes. Love Tori. So there's a lot of cool people on there that I'm excited to see how the season plays out. You being back is probably the coolest thing for me. Because I'm honestly watching and enjoying it a little bit more than I ever was in the past. Like I never really enjoyed it because I would always be like on edge. Now I think because I've played multiple games and I've watched multiple, it's like, it's just not personal anymore unless they make it personal. And so I can watch it with a little bit more enjoyment. So I appreciate you joining us here and kind of giving us a little bit of behind the scenes stuff, which we really appreciate. We love the team.
Thanks for having me, bro. Appreciate you.
Yeah. So maybe again in the future to talk about Big Brother, but maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not watching, but I will watch whatever week you need me to watch to come on.
That means nothing. No, I'm just kidding. We won't talk. We got a lot to cover on Big Brother, so we appreciate you joining us here, brother. And guys, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, share it with somebody that may be into the challenge, and Paulie, let everybody know where they can find you.
You can find me, Paul Calafiore _ where you've always found me. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate the Winner Circle. Make sure you like and subscribe. These folks are the best. The Hitman plus Tiff.
That's right. You heard it here first, people. We thank you for joining us here on the Winner Circle, and we will see you next time.
All right, man. Love you. Thank you.
Yep. Love you too, bro.